Welcome back to another episode of the Bear Trap on the Boom Bust channel, Bears podcast by a Bears fan. I'm your host, Terry. And psych, I know I said I was done, but stop it. I did have that little moment where the headache of the conversation was getting to me, but absolutely not. We will never be silenced. We gotta give the actual better Bears fans something to listen to. But either way, Shane Waldron got fired today. That's something worth talking about, of course. And the cycle continues. To once again listen to so many people talk, or I should say using talking points that were the exact same when Fields were here. It was the exact same when Trubisky was here. It's the exact same thing all over again. And as I said many times before, I thought Fields was a better prospect than Trubisky. I still believe that. And I believe Caleb is a better prospect than both of them, of course. And it kind of reminds me of like discussions about Bryce Young and Caleb Williams, in that people will say, well, they're struggling. Well, I shouldn't say that. Caleb and Justin Fields is probably a better comparison, but those conversations and those comparisons, in that people will say, wow, they're the same prospect because they're struggling with the same thing. That is far from the case. And so while I think they're very similar situations in terms of evaluating what the issues are, I will not at all say that Caleb is the same type or caliber or play style of quarterback as Justin. And I don't think Justin was necessarily the same as Trubisky either. Like those, just because those things are in common doesn't mean that, you got causation. So I want to put that out there. But in terms of what we're seeing, issue-wise with the offense, not being able to see the field, not being able to process and all that, yes, that similar trait has kind of played through these three quarterbacks. But anyway, we're right back into the cycle again, where Shane Waldron gets fired. He gets scapegoated, and we're now going to move forward. And you could watch the game. It doesn't really matter. I can tell you what's going to happen. I can tell you what's going to happen come Monday, if not the following Monday. Caleb's going to still be the same player he is, and we're going to continue to have the same issues. And then people are going to say, well, clearly, you're going to have most people say, this is clearly above Waldron. This is a problem with Eberflus, which again is so funny to me, how fans in one sentence can say Eberflus is a glorified defensive coordinator, and then in another sentence say it's his fault that the offense doesn't work. Interesting. But anyway, so you're going to have most people say this is above Waldron. It's an Eberflus problem. He needs to get fired. You'll have a small section that says, no, Waldron was also terrible and Eberflus needs to get fired next because nothing has changed. That's what it's going to be. You don't got to watch the games. You don't got to read the stats. You don't have to listen to the radio or watch TV. That's what's going to happen. 100%. And then what's going to follow that is whenever Eberflus is let go, whatever, doesn't matter, there's going to then become probably a long discussion about Ben Johnson, which for the life of me, as we do this cycle once again, can somebody explain to me why it is that people think they can say with certainty what Ben Johnson is going to do? I'm very curious as to why someone without any head coaching experience, people can guarantee is a good head coach. I think some fans have completely confused the word head coach with quarterbacks coach. And I think a lot of owners have done that too. And so here we are, which I've already talked about when I talked about why the NFL has a quarterback development problem. But anyway, it'll probably start with Ben Johnson. Then it's going to go into a long list of other people. And all of them pretty much, maybe besides Belichick, maybe Vrabel, they're all going to be offensive coordinators. They're all going to have some narrative attached to them. Oh, they worked with so-and-so. Oh, they were part of this team, so they know this. And so we're going to go down that path. And then we're going to get to the off season where we're finally going to go into the coaching search. Everybody's going to have their picks. We'll get a new coach, and everybody's going to backlash immediately, because for some reason people think that the great coaches are always available. I don't know why you think a great coach is available. As I say all the time with free agency, they're available for a reason, especially in today's age where a lot of people don't make it to free agency. So if somebody's available, they're available for a reason. But anyway, people are going to backlash because they're going to say something's wrong with the coach. And then as we get deeper into the off season, everybody's going to start reciting articles and stats from other things they read about why this coach is going to be a good fit and why we think this is going to work. Possibly the GM too. If it's Ryan Poles, then they're going to talk about all the good picks Ryan Poles made. They're going to talk about the trades he made after he completely tanked our roster and then got the Panthers pick and how he flipped that. They're going to say that, it's not his fault. He doesn't play the game, even though the coaches don't either. They're going to say it's not his fault. He gave a good roster, blah, blah, blah. If he's not here, then again, they're going to find out different stats and narratives to say why the next GM is going to be better. And then we're going to continue on to the season with all this hope. And depending on, it actually doesn't depend on who it is. There's going to be something bad. It's not going to be all, blowout, shutout wins, 16, 17 and 0. The minute something goes bad, and more than likely Caleb is still going to not be fully, realized as a quarterback. No one is in 2 years. As soon as it happens, they're going to start blaming the offensive coordinator. More than likely, they're going to blame the offensive line coach and talk about how the offensive line coach now made the O-line bad. That's if we have new players. Obviously, if we don't have a completely different O-line, then they're going to say the O-line's fault. If we do got new players, they're going to say it's the O-line coach fault. And then once they can't blame the O-line coach if he gets fired or not, they're going to say this new offensive coordinator's bad. It's not the head coach's fault. And so then they're going to fire the OC, and then it's going to still be bad, or we're still going to have bad moments. And then they're going to eventually say, yeah, the head coach should give up play calling duties. And then people are going to start talking about how he's not fit to be a head coach, and we're going to start this cycle on over again. So I didn't even plan on doing that, but that's just, I'm just giving you the preview because that's what's going to happen, because we already did this. And owners and a lot of people in the front office are dumb, and they listen to things that they shouldn't listen to make decisions. But anyway, back to Shane Waldron. So Shane Waldron gets let go. I said yesterday that I have now got to a point where I was like, I think he should be let go. Eventually, again, I didn't really feel strong that he needs to be let go right now, but I did think he needs to be let go because I didn't feel like whatever his teaching philosophy was, it just wasn't working for Caleb. and Caleb isn't the office by himself. But I also felt like the way that our offensive line looks in the run game, assignment wise, was a huge problem. And I just think the play calling style and everything, which some of that is dictated by Caleb. If Caleb makes 2 bad plays and it's a 3 and out and we're down 7 or 14, that changes play calling. But still, I just thought the style wasn't meshing well. And so I'm not sitting here saying completely Waldron is blameless, but as I've said with any other team, or as I said with this team, it ain't gonna change anything. I still remember everybody telling me how Juan Castillo was going to change things. We got a new O-line coach. Juan Castillo is going to come in here and he's going to make it all better. He's the run game coordinator too. Oh my God. I said Harry Hestad is one of the most decorated offensive line coach in all of football, in any level. If you're a coach, those are one of the guys that we ain't talking about a Bill Walsh, Super Bowl winning head coach. We're talking about a position coach essentially that is known in all of football. I said, do you really think he doesn't know how to coach offensive line? You really think Juan Castillo's going to come in here and better? And oh Lord, people unloaded how wrong I was. Yeah, we see how that worked out. But anyway, so no, I'm not a proponent of firing coaches unless, again, my only rule, or 2, I should say, if they do something egregious, outside of the team or even with the team that, but some illegal, something like that. Or if they're making a toxic environment, that's the only time that you want to do it. Now, again, on top of Waldron having issues and maybe not being a good fit, you had players ask for him to be removed. And you got to take that with a grain of salt. Like, not all players know football. Not all players are real leaders. And not all players are forward thinkers. Of course, if your numbers aren't looking good, you're going to want some type of movement. But there's no real information on this or the Caleb thing, which we'll talk about in a second. There's no real information. All it is that they wanted him removed. So again, it would depend for me what exactly they were talking about as an issue, for me to say that that's legit. But either way, players spoke up. That's something that you got to understand and take into consideration. At the end of the day, it's not a huge difference because you're going to, it's the same thing. And I don't know how many times people have to see this. And I do realize a lot of Bears fans don't pay attention to the NFL, which again, to be a better Bears fan, you got to be a better football fan. So I don't know how many countless times, especially in the last 5 years, because it happens way more often, coaches get fired and people act like, yeah, that's going to be a spark. Okay. Oh my God. And now look, Josh McDaniels had to go. The stories got out about how toxic he was. He had to go. But it was, oh my God, AP is so different. And Antonio Pierce, we played for him. And he's magical. Wow, what a difference moving a coach makes. Yeah, look how the Raiders are doing. So I don't know how many times people have to see this to know that is not going to change, but hey, that's what it is. Because again, my biggest beef with a lot of these conversations are people are just being robotic. All they're saying is what they think they're supposed to say. You're accountable. You're in charge of this. You should be fired. And you can't guarantee, you can't even put a dollar on it that is going to change it because you have no idea what's causing the issue. But either way, all that stacked against Waldron, he's gone. And so now you got the passing game coordinator to step up, be the OC, and you're running the same playbook. You're running the same plays. Caleb is not going to be able to read a defense because the voice is different that called it. That's not going to happen. So all these situations tend to end up being just a Band-Aid, not even a Band-Aid. It's like a piece of tissue just dabbing the wound. It ain't really a Band-Aid either, but it's a very temporary change that probably won't do much. And again, right now people are clapping because they want a pound of flesh. And then I already told you what's going to happen after these next 2 weeks anyway. So you get the guy, and I'm not even going to really trash him because there's a lot of discussion about him being the OC for Bryce Young and the Panthers. And yeah, it's funny how the narratives can come back to bite you. But that's not even my issue. Like, if you aren't aware of football enough to know that you're not putting a new system in. And again, hopefully people have been listeners and they've heard this, so I'm repeating myself for like the 5th time. You don't just change systems in the middle of a season. That's not what happens. And so again, it's going to be pretty much the same stuff. And we'll just kind of continue from there. So we move on to, again, very vague information. The players requested to put Bagent in. Now, I done told y'all about Bagent. I done told y'all last year when I seen him play and what he continued to do as he, had to fill in for Justin. I told you going into the offseason, we definitively have a top 5 backup. And then we saw Hard Knocks. We saw what he did. Obviously, we saw the preseason games. We saw the difference in efficiency. And so, look, I'm a fan of Bagent. And really, I'm not even here to kind of debate whether or not that should happen. But once again, there was not very much information. They just said some players requested it. So my thoughts on that, with very little context, is of course, as I said with Waldron, people care about their numbers. As I told you literally yesterday, now this comes out and everybody is shocked. I told you yesterday. What did I tell y'all yesterday? That the team doesn't believe in Caleb. And that's not to say that they don't like him. That's not to say they'll never believe in him or they don't think he's going to make it. But as of right now, people want to have a feeling that they got a chance. And so that doesn't shock me at all that somebody or some people mentioned that they want Bagent to play. As far as my thoughts, look, in a beautiful, perfect world, every rookie quarterback, I don't know. It's so hard to say because it's not a blanket answer, which is funny because everybody treats it as a blanket answer that every rookie quarterback should play. But the answer is neither is right. Not everyone should play. Not everyone should sit. But I do think in a perfect world, every rookie quarterback would have 4 games to learn. And as I said before, and people really don't understand how much goes into this. Like, you're going to a brand new place. You're trying to figure out where to live. You're trying to get your family settled. You're getting a playbook and trying to figure that out. You're trying to figure out the building. You're trying to remember everybody's names. You're trying to learn the coaches. You're trying to figure out the schedules. And then on top of that, you're in a whole different class of competition. with grown men. And so it is definitely not easy as a transition. And I think even just for the quality of life, it takes a lot of pressure off a quarterback to know that, hey, okay, going into this year, I don't have to be the guy right now. I mean, I felt the same way with Justin Fields. I was perfectly fine with Andy Dalton starting out as the guy when a lot of people, some people were cool with it, but a lot of people were like, absolutely not. We drafted this guy, throw him in. And so I 100% feel like in a perfect world, no matter what, each quarterback would at least get a quarter of the season to understand NFL football, to go through a week of practice, a week of the game, and see film, 4 weeks to see the offense, see what works, what doesn't, what we're messing up with, and to really get a feel. And the big part that's an issue with all of this is that it's just very little practice time. Like, the discussion of who runs with the ones is so crazy to me. Not even crazy, but it's new. Like, that's a very new concept. Like, you in any level, even high school, where you got, like, they're in school most of the day, any level of football, you got enough time for more than one quarterback to be with the ones, or anybody to be with the ones. But they have such limited time in the NFL, bro, that like those first team reps are very small, and they do have to, it does take on a more significance. So when you realize how little time they got to practice, yeah, that stuff is very crucial. And so I that does complicate things, where it's like, hey, we want to give this rookie everything. We want to give him all the plays, we want to give him all the reps, we want to give him all the preseason. And I get it. And again, as I talked about in my episode, which a lot of people didn't listen to, but you should, I talked about the development of the quarterback and why it's so poor. And so everybody's going to say it's the Bears, which, again, I just have to reiterate, is the dumbest conversation I can't stand to listen to. But everybody's going to say it's the Bears. Of course, they don't know how to develop a quarterback. What is developing a quarterback? Again, I'm waiting for somebody to tell me. But anyway, so people are going to look at that and say that, but it's really the NFL. The NFL ruins more quarterbacks than it develops at probably a 5-to-1 rate. And so that's not a Bears thing. That's an NFL thing. But anyway, so yeah, you got guys like Aaron Rodgers on McAfee who said it, pretty succinctly, said the same stuff that I've been saying. And it's just that there's zero patience in the league now. Like, the fact that a coach doesn't make it through a season, their first season, is insane. Absolutely insane. To think that you can put together a brand new offense and have it down pat in half a season is insane. The fact that you have teams trading quarterbacks after one season is insane. And so, yes, it's driven a lot by the cap, but that doesn't again, I talked all about this all with the quarterback development, but it's insane that Aaron Rodgers pointed that stuff out, and he pointed out again how almost every time when you fire a coordinator mid-season, it's rinse and repeat. It's going to be the same stuff, but they're doing it just so fans can feel like something happened. And that's not me repeating what I'm saying. That's Aaron Rodgers telling you that. So we know what it is, man. People that know football know what it is. This ain't going to change a lot. And I was going to ride the scapegoat thing, but like I said, there's some legitimate factors that, for me, at the end of the day, I don't really care about, like, the players, being upset and all that. But if you have a coach where their ineptitude or their attitude makes it a place where you don't even want to come into work because you have no faith in them, and that's as a group, that you gotta move on, because at that point that's not a scheme issue. So we're going to run the same scheme. It's a person issue. And I'm not saying that was Waldron, again, there's no information as to why they didn't like him. But if that's the case, fine. So I'm not going to ride the scapegoat train like, I tend to do. I still think that in some ways he was definitely thrown under the bus, but make no mistake, Caleb got that man fired. And for all these people that sit here and say, I'm laughing because, again, this was all through the Trubisky and all through the Justin Fields. Why they not throwing to this guy? Right now it's Kmet. So let's just use his name. Every single time. Why are they not throwing to Kmet? Why is Waldron not throwing to Kmet? Waldron is not the quarterback. And so for me, if fans can't understand that, then there's no conversation, because so many people talk as if the coach is on the field they're supposed to be on the field doing it for the player. Sometimes the player is just not doing his job. And because it's Caleb and because he's number one, everyone's act like, not everyone, thankfully we have some people in the media that are smart enough to say, yeah, Caleb is messing up. So Caleb got those guys fired, not by himself, but he definitely got them fired, because at the end of the day, if the O-line couldn't pick up a blitz, even if the numbers weren't great, but Caleb was looking good, I guarantee you they wouldn't care about none of the rest of it. But because Caleb is not looking good, we got to fire Waldron because he made Caleb look bad. Or Caleb is a rookie quarterback. I don't know. Maybe that's a crazy idea, but maybe he's a rookie quarterback. And so, yeah, we're right in the middle of the cycle again. And we're just going to continue to do what we've been doing, because not the Bears. I know all the Bears fans want to blame the Bears. No, the NFL, there's a much larger problem. The NFL has a problem. And so we are not the only ones. A lot of bad teams, and by bad, I mean bad ownership, they're going to be caught up in this circle. And so, man, if I wasn't so loyal to the soil, to Chicago, because I grew up where you rep the hometown, and we're just in a weird place now where people follow players and people jump teams and all that. That ain't my testimony. But if it was, I would go be a Steelers fan. I'd go be a Steelers fan so fast, not only for all the work that the Rooneys did for diversity, but because they are not reactionary. They're not reactionary. They're going to give people time. I told you before, I'm not firing a head coach. I'm not firing a coach mid-season. I'm not firing a coach before 3 seasons again, unless something egregious happens, because these things take time. And for all the people that act like you just flip a switch and a team is good, I just don't know what evidence you pulling from. Things take time. Systems take time. Aaron Glenn, I was just talking about that. People are like, Aaron Glenn's obviously one of the best D coordinators. He's going to be getting head coach consideration. The same Aaron Glenn whose defense was like almost dead last in pass defense his first year, and people wanted him fired. You mean to tell me, oh no, he got better? You mean to tell me, oh no, with better players, they got better? Wait, what? Wait, no. I was told once you suck, you're done. So it's just things like that where it's like, I would love, and we don't have Jerry Jones. We don't have none of that. The owners don't come out and do all that. But we know that their owners are talking behind closed doors, and it's very clear which teams have the fortitude and the courage to just weather the storm. You're going to be better for it. Just like people talking about Caleb is a bust, and I'm not the only one, but everybody says this. So you said you would have called Peyton Manning a bust then in his rookie year. And Peyton Manning and his coaches have talked about how going through that adversity was part of the reason he was such a better player. And so Caleb's a rookie quarterback. It looks bad. Okay, that's okay. Let's just keep going forward. But no, microwave society, ADHD brain, and here we are. So anyway, that's it for me. Go down in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Share it around. Get the conversation started. Thumbs up, subscribe, and remember, stay up and bear down.